Stop lying to yourself. Right now, at this very moment, you are blaming someone for something in your life. Maybe it is your parents for how they raised you. Maybe it is your boss for not recognizing your talent. Maybe it is your partner for not understanding you. Maybe it is the system, the economy, the world for being unfair. And while you are busy pointing fingers at everyone else, you are losing time, you are losing power. You are losing the one life you have been given. Carl Jung discovered something that will shatter everything you believe about blame. He discovered that when you blame others, you are not describing them, you are describing yourself. Every accusation, every complaint, every judgment you make about another person is actually a confession about what you refuse to see in your own psyche. Jung called this projection, and it is destroying your life without you even knowing it. Listen carefully, because what I am about to share will either wake you up or offend you so deeply that you will close this video. But if you stay, if you have the courage to hear the truth, you will understand why you keep repeating the same patterns, why your relationships keep failing, why you feel stuck no matter how much you try to change your circumstances. The problem is not out there. The problem is in here. And until you stop blaming and start owning what you project onto the world, you will never be free. Subscribe to CJ Legacy right now, because this channel exists to give you the psychological truth that most people are too weak to hear. We do not give you comfort. We give you clarity. We do not give you excuses. We give you power. Hit that subscribe button, because if you can handle what comes next, your entire life is about to shift. You wake up angry at the world, frustrated with people, disappointed by how things are going, and you have a story, a perfect story that explains why nothing is your fault. Your parents damaged you, your ex betrayed you, your friends abandoned you, your colleagues undermined you. The system failed you, and because this story is so convincing, because it has evidence, because other people validate it, you believe it is real. You believe you are the victim and they are the villains. But Jung would tell you something devastating. He would tell you that every single person you are blaming right now is just a mirror. They are reflecting back to you something you cannot stand to see in yourself. And the more intensely you blame them, the more you are avoiding your own shadow. Here is how projection works. Pay attention, because this will explain every conflict you have ever had. When you encounter someone who irritates you, who frustrates you, who makes you feel angry or disgusted or threatened, your immediate assumption is that they are the problem. They are rude, they are selfish, they are controlling, they are weak, and maybe they are, but that is not why you are reacting so strongly. You are reacting strongly because they are embodying something you have disowned in yourself, something you have judged as unacceptable, something you have pushed into your unconscious and refused to acknowledge. And now that you see it in them, your psyche erupts, not because of who they are, but because of what they represent about who you are. Let me give you an example. You despise people who are arrogant. You cannot stand their superiority, their need to dominate conversations, their inability to listen. Every time you encounter an arrogant person, you feel rage. You judge them, you want to put them in their place. But why such intensity? Why such emotion? Jung would ask you this. Where in your own life are you arrogant and refusing to admit it? Where do you secretly believe you are better than others? Where do you interrupt? Where do you dismiss? Where do you need to be right? The answer is there, hidden in your shadow. And instead of facing it, instead of integrating it, you project it onto others and blame them for the quality you refuse to own. Or maybe you hate people who are weak, people who complain, who make excuses, who do not take responsibility. You see them and you feel contempt. You think they are pathetic. You want nothing to do with them. But again, why such a strong reaction? What is it about their weakness that threatens you so much? Jung would say it is because you are terrified of your own weakness. You have spent your entire life trying to be strong, trying to never need anyone, trying to prove you can handle everything alone. And when you see someone being vulnerable, being dependent, being human, it reminds you of the parts of yourself you have been suppressing. So you attack them, you judge them, you distance yourself from them. Not because they are actually pathetic, but because you cannot tolerate the weakness you carry inside. This is projection, and it is running your life right now. Every person you blame is teaching you something about yourself. But you are not listening. You are too busy defending your innocence, protecting your ego, maintaining the illusion that you are the good one and they are the bad one. And as long as you stay in that position, as long as you keep blaming, you remain powerless. Because when you blame others, you give them all the control. You are essentially saying that your happiness, your peace, your success depends on them changing, and they are not going to change. They are living their own lives, dealing with their own shadows, projecting their own material. So you wait, you suffer, you resent, and nothing changes. But here is what happens when you stop blaming. Here is what happens when you take back your projections and own your shadow. You reclaim your power. You stop being a victim. You stop being controlled by what other people do or do not do. You start seeing reality clearly instead of through the distorted lens of your unresolved psychology. And most importantly, you become capable of real change. Because now you are working on the actual problem, which is not them, it is you. Let me be very clear about something. This does not mean that other people are perfect. This does not mean that everyone is innocent and you are just imagining their flaws. Some people are genuinely harmful. Some people are genuinely toxic. Some people will betray you, manipulate you, use you. That is real. But even in those situations, your reaction, your emotional intensity, your inability to let go, that is yours. That belongs to you. That is information about your psyche, not just about their behavior. And if you want to be free, if you want to stop suffering, you have to stop giving your power to what they did and start reclaiming responsibility for how you respond. Jung taught that individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires you to withdraw your projections, to stop seeing your own shadow in others and start seeing it in yourself. This is brutal work. It requires radical honesty. It requires you to admit that the people you hate are showing you parts of yourself you have disowned, that the people who trigger you are your greatest teachers, that the world is not doing something to you, it is revealing something about you. Most people cannot handle this. Most people would rather stay comfortable in their victim story, in their blame game, in their self-righteousness, and they will spend their entire lives suffering because of it. But you are different. You are here. You are listening. You are ready to stop blaming and start transforming. So let me tell you exactly how to do this, how to recognize projection, how to take back your power, how to use every conflict as an opportunity for integration instead of an excuse for resentment. First, notice your emotional reactions. When you feel intense emotion towards someone, when you feel anger, disgust, contempt, fear, that is the signal. That is your psyche telling you that projection is happening. Most people ignore this signal. They think their emotion is justified by the other person's behavior. But emotion is always information about your internal state, not objective truth about external reality. So when you feel triggered, pause, do not react, do not justify, just notice. Something in you is being activated, something in your shadow is being touched. Second, ask yourself the uncomfortable question. What quality am I seeing in them that I refuse to see in myself? Where am I being the thing I am accusing them of being? This requires courage. It requires you to drop your defenses and look honestly at your own behavior, your own patterns, your own shadow. And you will resist. Your ego will fight. It will say, no, they really are the problem. I am nothing like them. This is not about me. But push through that resistance, because on the other side of it is freedom. Third, own it. Once you see the projection, once you identify the shadow quality you have been disowning, you must integrate it. You must admit it. You must say, yes, I am arrogant sometimes. Yes, I am weak sometimes. Yes, I am selfish, controlling, manipulative, needy, whatever it is. This is not about self-judgment. This is about self-honesty. You are not bad for having shadow. Everyone has shadow. The question is whether you own it or whether you project it. And owning it is what sets you free. If you are still with me, if you have not clicked away because this is too confronting, then subscribe to CJ Legacy right now. Because this is the kind of content that will change your life if you let it. We do not do surface-level motivation here. We do deep psychological work. We give you the tools to actually transform, not just feel good for a few minutes. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and commit to doing this work every single day, because projection does not stop. It is a constant process, and the more conscious you become, the more you will see it operating in your life. Fourth, take responsibility for your emotional experience. Stop waiting for others to change so you can feel better. Stop blaming your mood, your peace, your happiness on what someone else did. You are in charge of your internal state, not them, you. And when you fully accept that, when you stop giving your power away through blame, everything shifts. You become grounded, you become stable, you become someone who cannot be shaken by external circumstances because you are anchored in your own self-awareness. Fifth, use conflict as a mirror. Every argument, every frustration, every person who bothers you is an opportunity to see yourself more clearly, an opportunity to retrieve a projection, an opportunity to integrate shadow. Most people avoid conflict, or they engage in conflict just to win, just to prove they are right. But Jung would say conflict is a gift. It is showing you where you are still unconscious, where you are still projecting, where you are still blaming instead of owning. Let me tell you what happens when you master this. When you stop blaming and start integrating your projections, your relationships transform. Because you stop trying to change people and you start accepting them as they are. You stop being triggered by their flaws because you have integrated your own. You stop attracting the same toxic patterns because you are no longer unconsciously seeking out people to carry your shadow for you. You become someone who can love without needing, who can connect without losing yourself, who can set boundaries without resentment. Your inner peace becomes unshakable because it is no longer dependent on external conditions. You are not waiting for the world to be perfect before you can be happy. You are not waiting for people to apologize before you can move on. You are not waiting for justice before you can let go. You have taken full responsibility for your experience, and that responsibility is your freedom. Your power multiplies because you are no longer wasting energy on blame, on resentment, on victim stories. You are using that energy to create, to grow, to transform. You become focused, you become clear, you become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you stop making it harder by projecting your unresolved material onto everyone around you. But let me warn you, this work is not popular. When you stop blaming, when you start taking responsibility, people will not understand. They will think you are excusing bad behavior. They will think you are weak for not fighting back. They will want you to join them in their victim stories, in their blame games, in their resentment. And when you refuse, when you choose integration over projection, they will feel threatened. Because your consciousness exposes their unconsciousness, your ownership exposes their avoidance, and they will either rise to meet you or they will distance themselves from you. Let them go. Anyone who needs you to stay unconscious so they can feel comfortable is not your person. You are here to individuate. You are here to become whole. You are here to stop wasting your life blaming others for the conditions you have the power to change. And that journey is lonely sometimes, but it is worth it, because on the other side of projection, on the other side of blame, is the life you have been searching for, the peace you have been craving, the power you have been giving away. Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Your projections are unconscious, your blame is unconscious, and right now they are directing your life. They are keeping you stuck in the same patterns, the same conflicts, the same suffering, but you can change this. You can make the unconscious conscious. You can stop projecting and start integrating. You can stop blaming and start owning. And when you do, you will finally understand what it means to be free. So here is your assignment. For the next 7 days, every time you feel angry at someone, every time you blame someone, every time you judge someone, stop. Ask yourself, what am I seeing in them that I am refusing to see in myself? Write it down, sit with it, own it. Do this every single day for 7 days and watch what happens. Watch how your relationships change. Watch how your peace increases. Watch how your power returns. This is not easy work. This is not comfortable work. But this is the work that matters. This is the work that transforms, and you are capable of it. You would not be here if you were not ready. So stop blaming, start owning, integrate your shadow, reclaim your projections, and finally, become who you were always meant to be. Subscribe to CJ Legacy. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your life is your responsibility, no one else's. Stop giving that responsibility away through blame. Take it back, own it, and transform.